my fellow Ambazonians. Una good evening for all una. I will come again this evening for can salute una, for can talk for una, for can inform una, for can make all man, for make all man understand what did really happen for inside La République du Cameroun. I don't come this evening now for can bring una news. We don't come out for the international system. I don't come this evening for can give una an update of which La République du Cameroun it is suffer from and which the war for Ambazonia it don't do for Cameroun. This evening, I don't come with very important information. We go for can tell what people them, educate what people them, inform what people them of how Cameroun they suffer because of the war where they declared them for Ambazonia. And the economic price where Cameroun they pay them because of the war where they declared them for Ambazonia. It's not easy for La République du Cameroun. So the discussion for this evening, now for me, for can give an economic update right from the international system of how the war for Ambazonia, it don't change Cameroun, how the war for Ambazonia, it don't destroy Cameroun, how the war for Ambazonia, it don't scatter Cameroun. Cameroun now, a country where it live on borrowing for survive. My fellow people, una good evening for all una. I be una brother Asu, una the press secretary for the executive office for Governing Council of Ambazonia. Una good evening for all una. All our people them all across the globe. I salute una. Today na Friday evening. We na number 30 day for the month of July. All money place day. Una welcome. The news I want can bring up for una today. It come out now for the IMF. For the place where countries them, they go borrow money. For the place where country them, where they don't get money anymore. For countries them where we know them, they not fit govern themselves. I don't want to bring una news from the IMF, from the International Monetary Fund. My fellow people, the war we Pobia declared for the Ambazonian people them, since 2017 we declared the war. It don't make Cameroun, it don't go bankrupt. Money for Cameroun is not there again. Cameroun not fit generate the money for run its own country. The country, for go back, it not there. For go forward, it not there. They declare war. Even money for the war, the money not there again. So Pobia, it don't go back. Go for the IMF. It go kneel down for the IMF with tears for your eye. It go kneel down for IMF with tears for your eye. It beg. It say if the IMF they not help it go lost all things. It no go only lost the war for Ambazonia. But Cameroun, it go scatter. They start for borrowing money since 2017. Yesterday, it be been at the final one. Yesterday, the board of directors for the IMF, yesterday, they released an official loan where Cameroun don't beg for a long time. They finally release a loan for La République du Cameroun. So basically, they don't give La République du Cameroun another 3-year loan where they call them say Extended Credit Facility ECE and Extended Fund Facility EFF. The total loan where they give La République du Cameroun now $689.5 million US. Now the total loan that with the IMF board, he approved them for La République du Cameroun yesterday. They not only approved the loan, me go tell you now what did happen. For IMF for give Cameroon this money, it mean now say na IMF, they own Cameroon as a country. The Cameroonese, they don't get a country anymore. Now the people they don't borrow them this money. Now them they own every single thing we did for Cameroon. Whether na their airport, whether na their hospitals, whether na their roads, all the public company them, what they did for inside Cameroon, they give them this money, those companies them, and all the things the way Cameroon get them, all the stadium, all the hotels, all those things. Now IMF now it get them. They use those things as collateral. If Cameroon if he pay this money, they go seize all things, including even the road where people they drive on, including even the water where people them for La Republique they drink them, including the company where they give water. They call it being a sonel, snake. Now they call them Cam Water. Now IMF own them, including Enio, the company where they give light. Now IMF he own part of it now. All the hospitals, all the universities, everything where it did for inside Cameroon, they don't go sign. Now IMF he own them. All these things they come as a result of the AMBAZONIA resistance. The bankruptcy of Cameroon, now because of AMBAZONIA resistance. Cameroon don't become economically broke, now because of the AMBAZONIA resistance. Cameroon, it not get money anymore, now because of the AMBAZONIA resistance. Cameroon now they live now on borrow. They live on what we call and say financial drip because of AMBAZONIA resistance. As a country, they not get a country anymore. Now IMF, he own them. Now IMF own Pobia, now them own Diongute, all the Cameroon ministers, including the Cameroon Parliament, including the Cameroon Senate, all of those things now, they under the total control of IMF. Nothing they will do inside La Republique of Cameroon will not be approved by the IMF. Nothing they will do inside La Republique of Cameroon will not be approved by the IMF. So when they put out the release this morning for La Republique of Cameroon yesterday, they not give them all the money. They not give them all the money. The money they will give them small, just like drip. It will enter their skin as small. According to IMF, yesterday IMF only released now 177.2 million into the treasury of La Republique du Cameroun. IMF not give Pobia all the money. They not give them all the money. They only release now 177.2 million into the treasury of Cameroon. All right? So now, when I hear the interesting thing, the IMF they say, for any other money, we they would give them every 3 months. While a day, IMF say they would release the money small for Cameroon now every 3 months. But before they release any money for Cameroon, the Cameroon government again for present to the IMF how they first use the other money where they give them and for implement what the IMF don't tell them. It talks they say any money where they give them, it could be now a review of 6 months apart. 6 months apart, and then it must go through a review assessment for assess the government implementation of the economic reform programs. The IMF, Cameroon got for go do presentation for IMF, say, okay, for the 177 million we give we'll take this money, now they bridge this with the bill and now they think this way they don't finish them. Now they what up, now they world this with the bill and now so they don't finish them. IMF don't take over the management of the state of Cameroon. Now IMF they manage Cameroon. the Cameroon government be unable to manage itself. Now they then are under the management of IMF through the Structural Adjustment Reform Program. So who's a Camerooners today? They don't have a country. Will be one poor beer. Say this generation wait it try with them. Now the wrong move, they don't make them. The country no go be destroyed economically, but everything about that country will cease for exist. So a Canadian professor, a Canadian political science professor, Richard Roberts, we'll put the one for up here. He don't vex. All right, this professor for University of Calgary, for Alberta, Canada, he don't vex with IMF. Now in this, he don't move one distance for him. I put up for now. Professor vex. He don't vex with IMF. All right, now in this, he talks say today, we be if they talking about yesterday. Mr. Chris Roberts, when a political science lecturer or professor for University of Alberta for Canada, he don't vex with IMF. His statement we move on for Twitter yesterday. He talks say today is the day a handful of executive directors at the IMF will support a new bailout program for Cameroon government. Okay, will support a new bailout program for Cameroon government, reproducing kleptocracy, waste, and war. When I hear what he talk, he talks say the money with IMF, he don't give them for Cameroon. Now for make sure say they produce more people them where they go thief money for Cameroon. They go produce more destruction for Cameroon, and they go increase the war. It talks that despite long evidence of patronage over policy, the Cameroon government knows it has no constraint. You know, and for day, Mr. Roberts, it talks right on schedule, Cameroon, actually CPDM and Paul Biya and their elites get their nearly 700 million bailouts. It's a watch for spending spree. New weapons, vehicles, and likely helicopters coming in. Stadium projects payment going out. No benefit to the ordinary people. Only debt. This one, Nano Ibo, a Canadian political science lecturer for University of Calgary, Mr. Chris Roberts. Now he don't talk. Now he don't warn the world. And he warn the citizens of La République du Cameroun. Say, hey, the money where they don't give IMF, Mona not think say the come now for can't develop now. It warn the world and for tell the world in advance. Say the money where they don't give Cameroon, now money for more war. Now money for more corruption. Now money for keep all the elites, the CPDM elites, for keep them, for go buy people them, for continue for support the regime. But with the warning way they send them to the world and to the Ambazonian people and say, the war, it will continue. Because the money they don't give poor beer, it go tell the IMF one thing, they go do another thing. So Mr. Roberts, he talks, say, make people they know say, they say the money, I for go buy more weapons for fight war, and possibly for buy helicopters, gunships. Alright? But may they know say the ordinary citizen, they no go benefit anything. This one, now Mr. Chris Roberts. We go do our best for reach out for the big man for book, for university for Calgary, for Alberta, Canada. We go reach out for you and for see if we fit get a direct interview with you. Make he come, he can explain them for you, for all man. How he don't follow this event. Make una know say Mr. Chris Roberts, now one of those Oyibo them, will be highly informed about the war between Ambazonia and Cameroon. The man they follow everything for detail, and I be one of the experts then, where they advise the Canadian government on the situation, on the war between the Ambazonian people them and La République du Cameroun. So now a person will be very highly concerned, and a person will get a good understanding of the behavior of the dictator. So when he talk, make we take a talk very seriously. Now make we come back for Ambazonia to Ambazonia. Now what did this one mean for our people then? Number one, it means they say the policy of the Ambazonian people then for render Cameroon economically broke, they work very effectively. But over the last 1 year or so, based on the interruption on the ground, based on how they don't spoil the ground in terms of the way they war they now by the infiltrators, how they don't spoil the ground. La République du Cameroun, it don't get some advantages. So I want just make the Ambazonian people maybe get a little bit of clarity. Say La République du Cameroun, it don't get a little bit of a breathing space. Most of those places where the Ambazonian people they be succeed for shut them down for 2017, 2018, 2019. Based on how the ground don't be toxic and the way the fight don't be now, the infiltrators them and their how they call them, internal enablers, they don't help La République du Cameroun for start for recover some of the economic activity on the territory. So places that like CDC, where they don't be totally damaged, and they be need about, I think, $160 billion, 160 billion CFA for them for revamp, for fix CDC, make it come back for functional capacity. Those places, activity don't go back for, it don't be recovered for CDC. Places like Pamol, they don't recover activity for Pamol. So some of these things that they take place on the ground where most other Ambazonian activists, they don't get the knowledge, or they don't even talk about it, they don't get the interest. But the Ambazonian people, they need for no say, they say, to a certain extent, Ambazonia, they lost grounds for some place them, and Cameroon did recover some of the economic occupational benefits on the territory. All right? Most of the money for help Cameroon make it normalize in the command of Ambazonia. And if the Ambazonian people, they not go back for follow the policy of economic sabotage, for increase the cost of occupation and stop economic exploitation. Once those companies, they revitalize, they get back to functional capacity, the Ambazonian war, it will get some serious problems ahead. I want just can give una these updates. Make una begin to change the way una think and change the way una don't live and make this war a continue from 2020 so they can reach 2021 by the actions of the peaks and their internal enablers. Once companies like Pamol, they fully revitalize. Once companies like CDC, they finally revitalize. Once companies like Sonaral, they finally revitalize. The Ambazonian people, they no go get a strong leverage anymore where they be get them. When I keep these things for una head, the leverage where Ambazonian they be get them, they don't lose some of those leverage. So this money that they can't give poor beer, it go also help you for go give small projects them for communities for inside Ambazonia, and they fit able for staff to tell the people that say, look, we'll be promised when I say local development will start take place. So this money now basically for take them, for use them as a normalization factor on the ground. Why they go increase the weaponization of their forces. So waiting the Ambazonian people they need for do am. Now say moon we tell now. Say Paul Bia he go for Switzerland. Now for meet up a partners them for discuss what if he offer them and what he partners they go support if he offer them. Now when they understand, they don't approve a loan for giving for staff for implement projects where they will reduce or give people them a small light of hope. So if the Ambazonian people them, they not really woke up and increase the resistance on the ground, things they will slow down for Ambazonians and small. The resistance on the ground must increase for Ambazonia then for continue for enjoy the leverage we go push beer for commitment to any negotiation. If that leverage is lower, there is no commitment to any negotiation. A second factor it come in on the ground where it will probably change the fighting. There is a second political factor where it be about to take place on the ground. I probably go for talk on more over the weekend about this factor, but I want just mention it for here. The Social Democratic Front, the SDF, it be don't die. The party be don't die, they be don't bury them. They want to take advantage of the Ambazonian war, the war for Ambazonia. SDF now, it don't find a new fertile ground for relaunch a program and for push the agenda for a return for federation. So the debate on the return to a two-state federation, it will become a hot topic within the coming days, within Cameroun and within Ambazonia, as the ultimate solution for one Cameroun. They go to give some of this money where they don't borrow from IMF. It go be a money where they go give John Frundi a big amount of money. I don't know how much they'll give, but they will give you big amount of money for rejuvenate the CPDM. Now the Bia government, it goes also give John Frundi big amount of money for reactivate CPDM as an opposition on behalf of the government for push the agenda for make sure say the solution it will take place not only on the ground. So leadership they need for factor this second political wave in because John Frundi go launch in the coming days. It go launch a massive campaign for all across the colonial state and for the occupied territory for revitalize, rejuvenate, and rekindle the SDF as an opposition party for push which it go be, they will call them say that the solution way they want to try for implement them on the ground. So I want just let one know the game where they come on. And for the Ambazonian people then, the only thing we go make them, whether not SDF, the rekindling of SDF for woke up SDF back for their bearing ground, or for give Bia the breathing space, we call on the Ambazonian people then for commit more for the structural self-defense of ADF. The other small group then, when I don't understand the game will happen for ground, for most places, they live like the Republic, may they just be them. Even the Cameroun army, they say they don't tire the war. Place the day where they don't want to fight them anymore. So now the third factor, this is what I want to talk about. Some of the Cameroun army, they say they don't want to fight anymore. So the more than they don't want to fight, then the more place go just cold by itself. No man no need for do anything. Place go return to normal. Until the Ambazonian people then, through the structured defense forces, especially the Ambazonia defense forces, because they get the roadmap and they know what to do with Cameroun. We call on every Ambazonia, support the Ambazonia defense forces for the big things the way they try for doing. As when I don't hear today, who can announce them for una. Say the ADF, the cross go inside La République du Cameroun for littoral, for Penda Mboko, for disrupt La République du Cameroun military, and they carry out a strike right inside La République du Cameroun. So For we for be able for sustain the resistance, the forces they must become more powerful. And for them for become more powerful and for implement the program where the leader launch them for February for the stabilization and consolidation of the gains on the ground. We need all we need for increase our commitment. For next Saturday, we will be now the 7th of August. Next Saturday will be the 7th of August. The AMBAZONIA Governing Council, it will hold a big fundraising campaign for all which I explain for now. That fundraising campaign, it will include, number one, for increase the stabilization on the ground, increase the consolidation of liberated territories, because if we not get liberated territories, so hold on strong, we not get anything for go negotiate on. I will talk more on that. Also, for all liberated territories, we'll get thousands and thousands of AMBAZONIA picking them, because we don't boycott the colonial schools. We don't create an alternative where it be in our community schools. We get thousands of AMBAZONIA picking them. Now the day on holidays, they will go back for school for September. All right? And we need for fix those schools. We need for buy those picking them uniforms, provide books, make sure say the thousands and thousands of AMBAZONIA picking them for liberated territories, they go school. Because now things and that we need for create the leverage. Now so we need for show say they say we don't liberate territories, we control territories, and we fit defend those territories. Not be not only for carry out an action here or an action there for Facebook. If people they fight and after 5 years they not fit show a block where they don't liberate them and they don't under their total control, then when I get for action ourselves, why not? The ADF, they fight with a plan. They need just fight for fighting sake so that they go get negotiation. They fight now for capture territory, control territory, sustain the gains of those territory. Because if you not get a territory with the control land and you get total control, you not get anything which some person get for can negotiate with you. That's why the AMBAZONIAN people get for believe for a leadership will provide the vision, it provide the roadmap, and it provide the strategy. Not being just for fight, for agitate, for the purpose for go negotiate. You fight now for gain leverage, where you feel seek for recognition, for freedom, and for independence, because you project power. Now the conversation this for today. Tomorrow, when I Saturday, for it will be on 31st of July for 2021. We'll get a big program tomorrow. I'm going to interview Professor Patrice Ngana for exactly 4 p.m. AMBAZONIAN time. We will be in exactly 11 a.m. for Washington, D.C. time and for Toronto time. All right? Now the story this for today. We'll talk for now tomorrow. Make una get a beautiful evening and a beautiful weekend. Una stay safe, una stay strong, una stay committed, una stay determined, and una stay resilient. Cameroun, they again, they live on borrowing. AMBAZONIA get control. And the power that will get them. May God bless all. As always, we love now.